Hello everybody, it's Anna and welcome back to my Booktube channel. Today I'm going to be bringing you a tag video, which I haven't done in a really long time, but this is called the Booktube Tropes Tag. I saw it over on Kathy's channel first. I will link hers and as well as the creator of the tag down below in the description box. So, let's go ahead and get into some bookish tropes. What are my opinions of them, whether they apply to me, etc., etc. So the first one is that booktubers hate libraries. For me, at least, this could not be farther from the truth. I think I have around like 20 books checked out from my library right now between like physical books, graphic novels, and ebooks. I mean, the library basically like allows me to read at the volume at which I would like to read because I can't afford to buy each and every physical copy of a book that I wanted to read. That would just be ridiculous. Hardcovers are way too expensive, and I really do love libraries. I've been volunteering with my library, like public libraries, ever since I was in high school. I'm a big supporter of library book sales, Friends of the Library, and all of the other resources that like the library provides beyond just reading materials. Like our library here in Seattle will give us things like free museum passes, so you can go to like local museums for free once a month. They do like all kinds of programs where they have authors come and like speak to the community and do all that kind of outreach stuff. Our library is actually pretty instrumental in, giving kids access to after school care, being a haven for like homeless people, LGBT youth. So like what's not to like about that? I adore them. Okay, the second trope is that booktubers are book hoarders. This one is kind of true for me. Let me give you an idea when I say that, what I mean. Here is a bookshelf of mine. A lot of these are double booked, and pardon all the other things that are on there, but I have a lot of books. I'm gonna say probably like a few hundred. There's another shelf down here. A lot of these are mine, but my husband also has a fair number of books on our shelves as well. You guys have seen this shelf before. This is the one that I usually film in front of. At least for me personally, I really like to own books that I really enjoy. Many of the books that I've had on my shelves, I've had since I was a really little kid. Some of them are my baby books. Some of them are books that I was given, for Christmas or birthdays or things like that when I was maybe as young as even 6. So to me, it is really important to like hold on to those books and create a library. But I'm not necessarily like the same level of attached to all of the books, if that makes sense. Like if I had to get rid of more of these books, like if I had to move or downsize or something like that, I could do it. I wouldn't really enjoy it because I like being surrounded by my books, but it's not like a, disordered kind of thing, I suppose. Okay, the third trope was that booktubers hate paperbacks. No. I know that in one of my favorite things about paperback quotes is in the Inkheart series by Cornelia Funk. I believe that Mo, the father, calls paperbacks books in beach clothes, and I actually really kind of like that. I don't know if that's just because it's kind of like stuck an interesting mental image in my head, or whether it's because I just have some really well-beloved paperbacks that I can't imagine reading those same books in hardcover. Like some of my most beloved books are like my autographed copies of Name of the Wind and The Wise Man's Fear. Those are both paperbacks. The little like Tamara Pierce Scholastic book fair books that I have that I adored growing up and I still do to this day are paperbacks. Most of my Chronicles of Narnia books are paperbacks, so I don't understand on the paperback hate. They're more cost-effective, and honestly, the only thing that bothers me about this would be having part of a series in paperback and part of it in hardcover. I would rather it be all one or all the other. Don't care whether it's paperback or not, though. Number 4, booktubers only give positive reviews. I don't know which booktubers they're watching that gave them this idea, but I mean, okay, let me back up for 1 second. So I tend to mostly give positive reviews on this channel when I review books. The only time I will really like go through the trouble of giving a book a negative review is if I have something interesting to say in that review. If I just review it by saying like the writing wasn't very good or the plot was weak, the characters were not fleshed out, if it's one of those like very common critiques, but there's not anything particularly otherwise noteworthy about the book, I'll usually just write a couple sentences on Goodreads to remind myself this was why I didn't enjoy the book as much. However, if I can think of something interesting to say that ties in with a negative review of a book, yeah, I'll give a book a negative review. I have at least one entire video on my channel that's dedicated to that, and I have one upcoming that is going to be a negative review of an adaptation of one of my favorite literary classics that I was really excited for, and I ultimately think was not a good adaptation. So, subscribe to the channel if you want to watch that, because it's going to be really good. I think maybe one of the reasons why it might seem like booktubers don't give negative reviews, at least for myself, if I'm really not enjoying a book, I read primarily for pleasure. So if I'm really not enjoying a book, I just DNF it. You know, I don't go through the trouble of making myself suffer through finishing a book that is really poorly written, that I am not enjoying, or that is like a book that contains downright offensive material. I've had that happen a couple times before, where particularly with certain like queer romance type things that I have gotten, you know, recommended by like the Amazon algorithm or whatever, that will have like unreadable amounts of biphobia or acephobia in them, and I just don't have time to read that. Why am I going to bother making an entire negative review video when I can just write a couple sentences on Goodreads, hey, be aware that like this book does this incorrectly, I think, and just move on with my life. So, yeah, I guess maybe there's some truth to that, but I think that's more of a self-selection thing. 5, all booktubers are just doing it for the money. I've never gotten any type of financial or other type of compensation for doing BookTube. First of all, not that many people are watching my videos. For those of you that are, like, thank you so much for being here. Like, you are one of dozens that watches the videos. But I'm mostly just doing this to connect with other people and have fun. I mean, maybe one day if the channel gets really big and, you know, I need some financial assistance to, like, do things like increase the production value of my videos, maybe then I would consider setting up like a crowdfunding thing. But I mean, honestly, with the way that like YouTube does not really seem to care about the small creators monetization as much, I don't think it's likely I'll ever be seeing money from YouTube specifically for these videos. Crowdfunding, different thing entirely, but I mean, right now, that's not really one of my priorities. That's not where this channel is at. I'm just doing this as a hobby, as a way to practice, you know, camera skills and script writing, and a way to share one of my favorite other hobbies, which is reading with people. So 6, all booktubers are teenage girls. Again, this is a thing where I can see why this is a trope. It's kind of funny. My husband, when I first started doing BookTube, was like, oh, all booktubers look the same. They're usually, you know, really, really young white girls that look like they've just escaped from a library and ran straight to a Walgreens to buy bold lipstick. He's not entirely wrong, but I will say, BookTube is a lot more diverse than the sort of like giant big channels that do a lot of paid sponsorships. Like, yes, there is a certain look that goes along, that correlates, I guess, with those type of channels. I'm not trying to deny that. However, most of the booktubers that I watch are not teenagers. And yes, more of them like are women or female presenting or feminine presenting than male presenting or men. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do here? Future me, go ahead and link some of your favorite booktubers down in the description that are not teenage girls so that the people can see them. Not that there's anything wrong with teenage girls, obviously. Like, that's a whole nother video we can talk about. There's nothing wrong with teenage girls, but I will say that, like, BookTube is definitely, like, more people are making videos than just teenage girls. Number 7, BookTubers review/recommend books they haven't read. I'm trying to think, have I ever seen a video where someone has reviewed a book that they haven't read? I've never seen that happen. The only thing that I could think of where it's recommending books you haven't read is if you do some sort of, like, paid sponsorship. So I know some booktubers will do paid sponsorships with publishers where they will say a little, like, blurb about a book that they haven't read yet, but they're not necessarily, like, recommending or endorsing it. And the ones that I watch, at least, are very, like, upfront that they get these books for free, or they get the sponsorship in exchange for an honest review. That's really the only time I can think of that I've ever seen someone, like, recommend a book they haven't read. But again, is it really a recommendation, or is it more of, like, an advertisement of, hey, this book is out there, the publisher is helping me, you know, financially make this video in exchange for telling you the book is out there. But advertising the existence of a book and recommending said book are kind of two different things. The last thing in the tag says, don't forget to tag your friends and or enemies of mine. If you're watching this video, I 100% challenge you to do your own. I bet you can't, because you're my nemesis. And also friends that are watching this video, you can definitely do this video if you want to. I would actually be really interested for those of you commenting below that don't make BookTube videos. What are some, like, BookTube tropes that you see that you wonder if it's, like, fact, fiction, debunked, something like that? And if for some reason you've stumbled across this as your first BookTube video, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, and I'm so sorry for that. There's an entire channel's worth of content, though, for you to go discover, and it's super wonderful. So if you like this video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Also, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. That way you get updates every time I post. There's going to be a lot of posting this summer. Let me tell you, I have some really fun videos planned. I'm working on writing scripts for them now for you guys, and I can't wait to share that with you. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.